Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Crewzin to the Void. I'm your host, Fish, and tonight we're going to be talking about things that I find successful throughout my coaching career and things that you can either look for in a coach or take into your own life and generate as a coach, either through work or through passing on knowledge to somebody, so on and so forth. But let's get into it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Crewzin to the Void. This week I want to talk about coaching. And one of the things that brought this up to me was this weekend I went on a trail run with my buddy Lance, and I took a huge spill, ate it, and it was super not fun. But luckily Lance had been around the block a time or two and was able to walk me through the whole situation just like a champ. I ate it. I was running downhill and I slipped in the mud and I fell and I scraped my leg open. I had about 2 inches of skin hanging off my leg, and I called for Lance. I said, "Bud, I need help." He said, "Can you come to me?" Kind of waddled for a second and I saw the blood running down my leg and a flap of my skin hanging off, and I said, "No." Lance comes running back and he looks at it and he goes, "Oh, sweet." That was the first thing I remember him saying. And that brought me relaxed, first of all, because I could think of a bunch of different people that would shout at me in that moment of, "How the fuck did you yada, 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 yada?" And the last thing I wanted to hear. So Lance being excited to see that I got a massive cut made me feel incredible. He sat me down. We ultimately ended up getting me taped up, and then we ran 4 miles back home. But it made me really think about how different things that I enjoy in coaching and enjoy seeing in people. And let's talk about the first one here. It's going to be creating a system for growth. So what does that mean? What is your end goal and what is your starting goal, right? And how do we create an element for you to grow within? I'm going to use an example from my coaching my coaching pastime of lacrosse. Is one thing that I like to do for creating a system of growth is creating an open dialogue for a lot of people. I don't want to shout. I don't want to scream. I don't like telling people what they did wrong. I like us having a conversation about it. So if people make a mistake in a game or make a mistake during a drill, I'm not going to stop the drill and yell at everybody. Pull one person aside that screwed it up, unless we all screwed it up, and ask them, "Hey, what went wrong? What do you think went wrong?" Or how I'm going to approach that depending on the situation. And give them an open opportunity, because 8 out of 10 times they know what they did wrong. There's no need to sit there and point it out. Let them tell you, and then that creates an opportunity for them to come back and again. And then the next question I always ask is, how do we not do it again? Then 8 out of 10 times they give me the answer. So this opens up a system in which that I can have a conversation with them when things don't go well. And I can also have a conversation with them when things do go well. So when they come aside, I do the same thing. "Hey, well, what went well on that play?" And they'll tell me, and it creates an open dialogue for everybody. If I chew people out and shout at them and scream at them, they're not going to want to have conversations with us and not have an open dialogue for them to grow, or give me the opportunity to guide them through that. Another thing I like seeing in coaches is coaching to mindset, not just the skills. So with that is making sure that people have the right attitude towards what's going to be coming. If it is a 10-hour race, you got to have a very prepared, very stable mindset going into that. If it's a 4-minute total fight where it's 2 2-minute rounds, well, you got to have somebody, "Hey, buckle it up. It's only going to be 2 minutes. We're going to get through this and be ready to fight and drive for 2 minutes straight." And those are two very different mindsets and mentalities. So help them coach to the mindset of what they need to be. And if it's having fun and enjoying the day, then coach to having fun and enjoying the day. If things need to be serious, coach to being serious. But never just focus on the skills, because there takes a mindset of ownership for success and a mindset for accepting failure for success, and also being a mindset for accepting growth, because some people don't want to grow. So helping people find those different mindsets for the different abilities is what's going to be something that helps a lot of coaches and helps grow, I think, you as well. The other thing I like seeing in a coach is somebody who teaches through experience and not just instruction. And here's what I mean by that. You don't have to necessarily be the most experienced player, but you have to, one, know the experience, and two, allow people to grow within that experience. So, for example, if you are trying to teach in lacrosse defensemen how to block down low between GLE, I'm going to let them run the play, and then I'm going to pull somebody aside and we're going to chat about things if they didn't go the way that I want. If it is something that they did phenomenally well, awesome, we'll go through it. Or let's say it was just a simple mistake throughout the drill, or you can take this into your work and apply it there. Let's say it was a small mistake in scheduling or something else. Allow the people to fail and say, hey, what happened? And they'll be able to walk you through their mistake, and generally they won't make it again because they failed through those experiences. If I'm just stopping the play or the drill after every mistake, or if I'm a boss and I'm emailing somebody the second I see a scheduling error saying, hey, this needs to be fixed immediately, I did not recommend this, yada, yada, you're not giving people a safe space to grow through the experiences. Because one of my favorite coaching moments with anybody is, hey, do you know how I learned not to do that? How? By doing the same thing you did. And that's how we grow together, because now we have a shared pool of wisdom that we can speak to when we're having conversations when people are making mistakes. And also teaching through success as well, because it doesn't have to be failures. You can make sure and systematically build success for people as well inside of these experiences. So let's keep this lacrosse going. Let's say I need my kids to win ground balls and feel successful on ground balls. I will not put an opponent on them for that day. I will just let them roll ground balls and pick them up, pick them up, pick them up. We cannot mess that up. And it's a very simple skill, but everybody will find a win within those experiences. So don't just talk people through things. Teach through drills, teach through examples, teach through experience. Allow them to learn and give them a safe place to make those mistakes. The other thing is I like seeing a humble coach. Nobody likes a coach that makes it about themselves. We remember when you were a high school stud. That's awesome. We remember when you were a college stud. That's awesome. But the 22 people behind you are the ones that are going to be on the field. They're the ones that are going to make it happen. So make everything about them and what. Change the conversation to we, our. If you ever find anybody saying I during a practice, unless it's gratitude, I still don't enjoy that word. We did well today. We worked on this. That builds team unity. You did awesome if I'm coaching somebody individually. You did great. I saw that you. No, it's just you. Don't make it about you. It's just them. Don't make it about you. Anybody who starts to make it about them is trying to take over the show, and that's not fair. And that's not what you're there for, necessarily, or even ever. Failure is essential to learning. We talked about this in experiences, and let's talk about why it's okay to let you. And one of my biggest rules as a coach is don't make the same mistake twice. Because through failure, you can build resilience. People can learn that, hey, things can go bad, but I can still fight back. If we get scored on, guess what? It's not the end of the world. We still got another 14 minutes of ball to play. We can score one and we can take it back. The other thing is it also creates ownership of success, because you were also there when you lost too. So when somebody struggles through a challenge and finally gets it right, they get to internalize that success. You get to feel that moment and attach a feeling to it. And it's not something that you as a coach handed to somebody. It's something that they earned through their hard work, and they get to build the resilience to this that can apply to any type of situation anywhere. And the other thing is it helps develop decision-making skills. You learn when to follow your gut, when to follow the knowledge, how to do different things through learning what not to do. And simply a coach's job in failure is to, what did we do wrong, and help people guide them out of that. So letting people fail doesn't mean abandoning them. It doesn't mean standing on the side while they're getting rained on. It means standing there with an umbrella and creating a structured environment where failure is safe and meaningful. Giving them enough freedom to make mistakes, but to be there to help them process what went wrong and adjust. A great coach knows when to give feedback, when to let the lesson play out. If someone asks, "What did I do wrong?" your first response shouldn't always be to tell them. It should be, "What do you think went wrong?" By forcing them to reflect, you then turn failure into a learning opportunity. I'm reading this all wrong, so skip over a great coach for it. All right. Some proverbs and stories of great coaches throughout history. One of my favorite ones is Dante. One of my favorite ones was Dante's Inferno. Virgil was a great guide. And one of the quotes from the book is, "The darkest places of hell are reserved for those who maintain their neutrality in times of moral crisis." And that was from the Inferno. And this was Virgil talking to Dante. And what this tells us is a great coach doesn't let their athlete or student maintain passivity. They push them to pass challenges, to make decisions, and take ownership of their journey. So I'm really there to guide you and push you through the right options. I'm not just going to let you stand idly. And if you make those mistakes, it's okay. We're going to stand here and we're going to move through it together. And moving through it together is another one of these quotes from Virgil. "Through me is the way to the city of woe. Through me is the way to eternal pain. Through me is the way among the lost people." Just as Virgil leads Dante through the painful journey of self-discovery, a good coach guides their students through difficulty, not by avoiding hardship, but by helping them face it and understand it. So let's talk about one of my favorite metaphors for a great coach is Athena in the Odyssey about Odysseus. One is, back to one of our themes, she provided guidance, not hand-holding. Athena didn't fight Odysseus's battles for him. She gave him the tools and insights to succeed, to make sure that he could then put in the work for himself. So a great example is when Odysseus was stranded on Ogygia, Athena didn't simply free him. She persuaded Zeus to send Hermes to order Calypso to release him, ensuring Odysseus could continue his journey. However, he still had to build his own raft and endure the storm at sea. So Athena could have very simply swept in, grabbed Odysseus, and brought him home. But instead, she convinced somebody to open the door and allow him to go on to his journey and learn to do things on his own. She also helped him with his resilience and self-belief. When Odysseus doubted himself, Athena reassured him, reminding him of his past victories and inner strength. Even in his darkest moments, she nudged him forward, ensuring he never lost sight of his home. So even when he was low, she didn't sit there and kick him and keep beating him down. She drove him to where he needed to go and said, "Hey, let's keep this driving, keep this bus moving," and reminded him of who he was and how he got there. When Odysseus's men foolishly ate Helios's sacred cattle, Athena didn't save them from the punishment. They were doomed. But Odysseus, having learned from past mistakes, found a way to survive and continue the journey. Another example of where Athena could have stepped in and helped Odysseus out, but she let him find his own success. So I'm going to pose this question on to you, is how are you going to help people grow this week? And what were some qualities that you enjoyed in a mentor throughout your life? My name's Fish, and thanks for listening to Cruise Into the Void. Tune in every Thursday for a new episode. Imagine what you could do in just 6 weeks with a fitness plan designed exactly for you, with no guesswork and no cookie cutter workouts, tailored to your goals. And that's exactly what Phoenix Protocol is. It's going to be a 6-week online challenge where you're going to get weekly check-ins with myself, and I'm also going to write a fitness plan for you based around what you want to do and your goals. No two people are going to have the same fitness plan, and we're going to write it together every week based on your needs and what you got to get done in your schedules. So, spots are extremely limited, and starting February 24th, the price is going to be doubled for the program. We're going to be starting March 10th. DM me, Phoenix. I'll get you more information.